Hi, and welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole bunch of sources, could be articles, research, notes, you name it, and we basically pull out the best bits, the most useful, maybe surprising bits of knowledge just for you. And today we're doing a deep dive into something I think many people are interested in: how to unlock confident English conversation. Think of it like, that relaxed cafe vibe we often talk about, just easy conversation flowing. That's what we're aiming for here, using your source material as our guide. Because it's not just about learning words, is it? It's about really connecting with people, expressing yourself.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting about the source material for this one is how it sets that tone right away. It's definitely not like a stuffy textbook. It actually frames the whole thing as a kind of step-by-step journey, which I quite like.
A journey,
Yeah, it shifts the focus from, all that anxiety about making mistakes or sounding perfect towards just practical, low-pressure ways to interact. Like right from the start, it gets you involved. It asks you to just speak out loud about how your day is going. Simple as that.
Oh, interesting. So like immediately getting you talking.
Exactly. No pressure, no judgment, just activating your voice.
Okay, I see. So that really sets the stage. Our mission today, then, is to dive into this journey. We want to pull out the most effective, maybe even transformative strategies from this source, kind of like a shortcut, maybe, to feeling more comfortable, more capable, more you in English conversations. The goal, I guess, as the source puts it, is helping you speak like a human, not like you swallowed the dictionary. So how does it actually do that?
Well, thinking about the big picture, the core idea that really jumps out is this metaphor. Speaking English is like a muscle.
A muscle, okay.
Yeah. It gets stronger the more you use it, right? Through practice, through being a bit brave, maybe, not by aiming for some impossible perfection. And the source really hammers this home with some pretty powerful affirmations. It actually tells you to give yourself permission to speak badly.
Really? Speak badly?
Mm-hmm. Because it leads to greatness. It's about silencing that inner critic a bit. It also stresses that English is not perfect. It's personal.
Oh, I like that. Personal. That's a great way to put it. It sort of takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
It really does. It frees you from needing to sound like, I don't know, a newsreader or something.
Yeah.
Or stick to rigid rules all the time.
Okay, that makes sense. That difference between perfect and personal feels key. But how does the source suggest you actually do that? Embrace the personal side, especially if you're worried about mistakes. What are the practical things it offers to build that speaking muscle?
Right. Good question. It's not just about changing your mindset. It gives you a concrete plan. It actually outlines a 7-day speaking mission.
A 7-day mission. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a series of daily exercises, low pressure stuff, designed to build those conversational habits step by step. It starts really small and then kind of ramps up gently so it feels manageable. For instance, day 1, they have something called mirror talk.
A mirror talk. Okay, that sounds intriguing. Tell me more. What is that and why does it help?
Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You just talk to yourself in the mirror for about 5 minutes. But it's not just about checking your pronunciation. It's more about getting comfortable seeing yourself speak, your expressions, your body language.
Ah, okay. So connecting with your own voice visually.
Exactly. You observe yourself communicating. It can be surprisingly helpful for feeling more natural and sort of owning your voice.
That's quite clever. A neat way to make English feel more personal from the inside out. So, okay, mirror talk is step 1. What else does it suggest to move from talking to yourself to, actual interaction?
Another really practical tool they offer is this thing called the 3A formula. Echo, ask, add.
Echo, ask, add, 3A. Got it.
It's a simple little framework, really repeatable, designed to keep conversations going, especially if you feel a bit stuck. So first, you echo. Just repeat a key word or a short phrase the other person said. Shows you're listening.
Okay, echo.
Then you ask a related follow-up question. Keeps the focus on them for a moment.
Right.
Ask. Right. Finally, you add. Add your own thought, or maybe a related experience or an opinion. Bring you back into the conversation.
Echo, ask, add. Can you maybe give a quick example? It sounds potentially really useful for anyone who kind of freezes up sometimes.
Sure, absolutely. Let's say someone tells you, I just got back from a fantastic trip to Paris.
Okay.
You could echo, Paris? Oh, wow. Simple. Right. Then ask, what was the best part? Or what did you enjoy most? And then add, I've always dreamed of going there myself. I hear the food is amazing. Or whatever fits.
Yeah, okay, I see. It gives you a clear path, doesn't it? Without needing some brilliant, complex sentence ready to go.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off having to be original every single second. And there are other exercises too, like Role-playing common situations, ordering in a restaurant, that kind of thing.
Practice scenarios.
Yeah. Or even just recording yourself talking about anything for 3 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Just building that stamina, getting used to hearing your own voice talking for a bit longer, different contexts.
It really does all come back to strengthening that muscle, doesn't it? Like you said. And the source, it has that line, you were not born to be quiet, but born to connect. I thought that was lovely. Every sentence, every little bit of practice, whether it's mirror talk or trying the 3A thing, it's a step. It's building that connection. It's about finding your voice. And, well, that's where the joy comes in, right?
Absolutely. It's about courage and consistent practice, not chasing perfection. Remember those affirmations. I give myself permission to speak badly.
Yeah, because it leads to greatness.
Exactly. And English is not perfect, it's personal. That really sums up the core message. It's about progress, not perfection.
Which brings us to a good point for you, the listener, to maybe think about. We've talked about this 7-day speaking mission and some of the exercises. Which one might you actually try first? Which one feels like the right starting point for you right now? Is it maybe that mirror talk for 5 minutes just to connect with your own voice? Or perhaps trying to role play a scenario like that restaurant order, get some practical phrases down? Or maybe recording yourself for 3 minutes just to hear yourself speak? Or could you try the 3A formula, echo, ask? Add in your very next English conversation.
Yeah, lots of practical options there. The power really is in the doing, isn't it?
It is.
And remember, English, it's more than just words, right? The source really paints it as a bridge to connection, maybe even love, definitely to a kind of freedom. You were born to connect. Every word you speak gets you closer. So yeah, speak boldly, speak freely, speak you. Our source material, a really detailed training guide, suggests fluency isn't just about learning more. It's kind of about unlearning some habits. We're talking a real transformation in how you speak, feel, and connect in actual English conversations.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to be your guides on this. We want to give you practical, step-by-step ways to tackle those common speaking issues, the ones you've probably run into, helping you finally unlock that smooth conversational fluency.
Okay, so let's get into it. Why do so many learners feel stuck? They study for years, but speaking, it's like hitting a wall. This guide points out 5 really common struggles. What are they?
Yeah, it's a great starting point, and these are, well, they're things almost everyone experiences. First, there's that frustration, right? You understand everything fine, but you just can't reply fast enough. Second, words just disappearing mid-sentence. Your mind goes blank, happens to the best of us. Third, and this is a huge one, translating everything in your head first, that constant delay instead of just thinking in English. Fourth is that feeling, that nervousness, worrying about mistakes all the time. And number 5, just not knowing what to say next to keep the chat going. You know, those awkward pauses.
Oh yeah, that feeling of understanding but being frozen. Or the word just vanishing. I think we've all been there. Total panic moment. What's great about this guide, though, is it seems to really tackle all of these head-on with actual things you can do. So when we say conversational English, what are we actually talking about? It's obviously not the super formal, perfect grammar stuff from school. So what is it really?
Well, what's interesting is the source defines it as being fundamentally about connection. That's the core. It's less about perfect sentences and more about, real interaction. Can you say what you mean clearly? Can you understand people easily? Keep the conversation flowing. It's also about asking questions, answering them without that fear creeping in, and maybe most importantly, reacting naturally, showing surprise, interest, agreement, like you would in your own language, not getting hung up on being perfect.
That really paints a clearer picture. So less rigid classroom rules, more like fluid real-life chat. The guide uses that analogy, right? Having coffee with a friend. You're just talking about your day, your weekend plans, whatever. The aim isn't an A+ on a test. It's just being understood, feeling relaxed, being part of the conversation. That sounds way less stressful. Okay, let's tackle that big bottleneck, translating in your head. The guide is pretty blunt about this, isn't it? If you're always translating, you're always going to be slow.
That's exactly right. And it leads to the question, okay, how do you break that habit? It's so ingrained for many. So the guide has this really practical exercise. It's called Think in English Daily Routine Practice. The key insight isn't just about making sentences. It's about bypassing that little translator in your brain. The idea is simple. Speak everyday phrases out loud, no translation allowed, like your morning routine. I wake up, brush my teeth, make breakfast, eat eggs and toast. get dressed, leave the house. Simple stuff. You just repeat these every day. Focus on the rhythm, the feel of the words until it becomes automatic. No more translation step.
Right, like building muscle memory for your mouth and brain.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But okay, say you're in a conversation, someone says something interesting. Then what? That dreaded, I don't know what to say next moment. It kills the flow, right? It leads to those silences.
Precisely. And that's where this technique, the art of echo questions plus add-on comments, comes in. It's a really neat two-step skill. So, step 1, echo questions. You basically just use the other person's topic to ask a simple follow-up. For instance, they say, I visited Japan last summer. You could ask, oh, really? What did you do there? Or maybe Japan, wow, where exactly? Or even just, first time. See, you're just echoing their topic back as a question.
Okay, echoing, and then you add something else immediately to kind of flesh it out.
Exactly right. That's step 2, the add-on comment. Right after your echo question, you toss in a short comment. So using the Japan example again, after asking, what did you do there? You could add, that sounds amazing, I've always wanted to go. Or maybe, wow, I really love Japanese food. So the trick is making it a habit. Link the question and the comment. It keeps the conversation moving so smoothly.
You know, when you listen to native speakers, their English isn't always perfect textbook sentences. There are all these little sounds and pauses, makes it sound, well, real, human. What does the guide say about incorporating that?
That's a really key point. Real talk isn't perfect. Native speakers use fillers and sounds all the time. Think about things like, or let me think, or, or, or well. Even, that's a good question. These aren't mistakes. They're just natural pauses, thinking sounds, ways to make the conversation feel more relaxed, more human. Using them yourself actually makes you sound more natural, less like you're reciting something.
Okay, this all sounds super practical, but how do you actually build these things into a daily habit? The guide lays out a pretty clear routine. You can start like, tomorrow, right?
It does, yeah. It's a 4-step routine, just about 30 minutes total each day. Very doable. First up, mirror practice. 10 minutes. Just talk to yourself in the mirror. Simple stuff like, today I feel, or I'm planning to, or yesterday I did. Second, shadowing. Another 10 minutes. Find a short video or podcast clip. Listen and mimic the speaker. Try to match their speed, their tone, their emotion. Third, free talk practice. Just 5 minutes. Pick a topic, any topic, hit record and just talk. Don't worry about mistakes, just speak. And finally, conversation builder practice, another 5 minutes. This is where you specifically practice those echo questions, those reactions, the follow-ups we talked about.
30 minutes a day. It's not actually that much time when you break it down, but doing it consistently, that's where the real change happens, I guess, like working out a muscle. And speaking of blocks, let's talk about fear, because that's often the biggest hurdle, isn't it? The guide tackles this directly. That fear that just makes people freeze up.
Oh, absolutely critical. People worry, I'll make mistakes, I'll sound stupid. What if I forget words? It's real. The core solution offered is practice in a safe space first. Build the skill without the pressure. So talk to yourself. Use the mirror. Maybe find a patient tutor. Just get comfortable speaking. Build that muscle memory. And the guide also gives these really powerful affirmations, things to tell yourself, like mistakes help me grow, or every time I speak, I get better. Even it's okay to speak imperfect English. And this one's key. Fluency comes from practice, not perfection. Repeating those can actually help rewire your thinking about speaking.
Yeah, thinking of it as training a muscle daily instead of a big, scary performance. That's a much healthier way to look at it.
Yeah.
But what if you don't have someone to practice with all the time? How do you simulate that back and forth?
Right. Good question. And the guide has a clever way around this. You can simulate conversations by yourself. You pick a common topic, maybe travel. Then you ask yourself questions like a partner would. Ever traveled abroad? Where would you love to go? What do you like doing when you travel? And you answer them out loud. Then, here's the important part, you use the flip it technique. You practice asking questions back like, have you ever been to Italy? Or what do you enjoy about hiking? It mimics the give and take. It's like conversation practice without needing another person right there. You can do the same for daily life, morning routine, tea or coffee. How do you unwind after work? Ask and answer, then flip it.
That's actually brilliant. An imaginary conversation partner always ready to go. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, what about vocabulary? This approach seems different from just memorizing word lists.
It is, definitely. The focus is on learning words in context through actually using them, not just memorizing definitions. The guide highlights 10 really useful conversation-friendly words native speakers use constantly to kind of grease the wheels of conversation. Things like actually, basically, honestly, just what, by the way, kind of, definitely, and probably. And it shows you how to weave them in naturally, like, actually, I think I left my keys, or, by the way, did you see that email? Or, honestly, I'm not so sure about that. The goal isn't just knowing the word, it's using it, making it part of your active speaking vocabulary.
So beyond the daily 30 minutes and these specific techniques, what about the long game? What strategies does the guide suggest for really building fluency over time?
Yeah, looking at the bigger picture is important for sustained growth. The guide suggests several good long-term ideas. Maybe join a speaking club, online or local, just for regular low-stress practice. Recording yourself often and actually listening back to track progress. You might be surprised what you notice. Using AI tutors or language apps can be great for simulating conversations anytime. They don't judge. Another interesting one, watch English TV shows or movies, but with the subtitles off. Try describing what's happening out loud. And finally, seriously, just talk to yourself in English whenever you can. Narrate your actions. It sounds a bit odd, maybe, but it's incredibly effective training.
Okay, great long-term tips. Before we finish, let's give everyone some quick tools they can use right away. The guide has some useful conversation starters, like a quick fire drill, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes just starting is the hardest part. So yeah, the guide lists some simple, effective openers. Things like, what do you do for fun? Or how's your day going? Simple, friendly, or seen any good movies lately? What's your dream job? What kind of music are you into? They're just easy, open-ended questions. Practice them, get comfortable asking them. They can kick off almost any chat.
Well, that was a really thorough deep dive. Congratulations on making it through. The ideas here, the actionable steps from this guide, they really feel like they could make a difference.
I think so too. The core message is pretty straightforward, really. Speak every day. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. Use your voice out loud daily. And focus on that cycle. Listening, repeating what you hear, responding, and just building that momentum.
You know, this whole journey, it isn't just about learning English in an academic sense. It feels more like actively training your voice, training your mind, and training your confidence.
Imagine this. What if today, like right now, was the day you finally felt genuinely confident speaking English? You know, that feeling, that deep wish to just express yourself, connect with people, just be yourself in English without constantly hesitating. It's something a lot of us feel, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Well, in this deep dive, that's exactly what we're exploring, the path to confident English fluency. We found this incredible source, this guide, and honestly, it feels less like a textbook you have to plow through,
right,
and more like, a personal coach right there beside you.
Yeah, exactly. And our goal today, our mission, is really to pull out the most practical, actionable strategies from it, and also those really deep mindset shifts. We want to give you a clear roadmap, something really practical to unlock your English speaking potential. We're going to unpack stuff that goes way beyond just like verb conjugations. It's about empowering your actual voice.
Okay. Let's dig in then. So this guide, it kicks things off with a really fundamental question, a personal one. It asks you, the listener, to maybe even say it out loud. Why do you want to speak English fluently? Simple question, maybe, but wow, it's powerful.
It really is. And it's fascinating because the guide looks at all sorts of motivations, right? Could be your job, could be travel, connecting with someone you care about, or maybe just feeling freer. But the key insight, the really big takeaway here, is that this why, it's not just a reason, it's your power source.
Your power source, I like that.
Yeah. It turns learning from this chore into something active, something emotional. It's like your compass when things get tough, And the internal drive is way stronger than just hitting some external goal.
That makes total sense. So once you've got that why locked in,
right,
the guide moves on to the first actual steps. And it says something interesting. Fluent conversation starts with being confident in really small sentences. It's not about making big speeches right away.
Exactly. It's what the guide calls the brick by brick method. You start super basic, daily stuff, like, hi, how are you? And then you consciously, intentionally grow those sentences from short to medium to full. So maybe you start with just, I'm fine.
Right.
Then you expand it, I'm doing pretty well, thanks. And then layer on more. I'm doing pretty well today, but I was a bit tired this morning.
Ah, I see. So you're building complexity gradually.
Precisely. It's not just throwing in more words. It's like you're building the mental pathways for more complex thoughts. So those longer sentences start to feel natural, not like something you're painfully translating in your head.
Yeah, like each sentence is a seed and practice is the water. That really paints a picture of how fluency actually develops.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of developing things, the guide then moves into something it calls the 10 golden conversation moves.
Ah, yes, the golden toolbox. This part is brilliant. These are practical tools to get conversations flowing. They're not just, phrases to memorize. They're more like conversational boosters.
Boosters!
Well, they shift your focus. Instead of just trying to speak English, you start to actually engage in the conversation. They help turn those awkward pauses or kind of dead-end answers into a real back and forth. The guide walks through each one with examples.
Okay, like what? Give us a couple.
Sure. So first, there's echo and react.
Yeah.
That's using little things like, oh, wow, or no way, just to show you're tuned in.
Right, active listening signals.
Exactly. Then there's ask back. Super simple, just what about you? It brings the other person right back into it.
Yeah, essential.
Then you've got add a thought, like saying, I felt the same way, or give a feeling like, oh, that must have been exciting, or it was really exciting.
Connecting on an emotional level.
Yes. And tell a tiny story. Something similar happened to me once. That builds connection fast.
Okay, these are great. What else is in the toolbox?
Well, some really practical ones too, like use pauses, just letting there be a natural rhythm, like, yeah. It sounds more human.
Instead of rushing.
Yeah, right. And one I think is crucial. Say, I don't know the word but. It gives you permission to keep going, even if you stumble.
Oh, that's really freeing. Takes the pressure off.
Totally. Then there's invite response, asking things like, does that make sense? Checks understanding. And, super important, be honest. Just saying, sorry, I'm still learning. People appreciate that.
Vulnerability, yeah.
And finally, the last one is celebrate small wins. Actually acknowledging your own progress, like thinking, wow, I actually said that.
That's huge for motivation.
Absolutely. And the guide is clear. You don't just read about these moves.
You got to do them.
You got to do them. Practice them with examples. Repeat them. Do speaking drills until they feel automatic.
Okay, so you've got these individual moves down, but how do you weave them into like a real flowing conversation? This is where the guide gets really interesting, right? With those immersive missions.
Yes. This is where it gets really practical and honestly quite fun. It's the 5 real-life role-play missions. And the key thing is you're playing you. These aren't just abstract exercises. They're designed to feel long, deep, and real.
Long, deep, and real. Okay. Like what kind of missions?
Well, mission 1 is the airport. You're checking in for a flight, an international one, and you strike up a conversation with a friendly stranger in the queue. Like a proper, natural 10-minute chat.
Wow, okay. So it's not just about the words.
Not at all. It's the whole experience, the emotion, the rhythm, the listening, that back and forth flow. That's what you're cultivating.
Got it. So you're experiencing the conversation, not just practicing lines. What are the others?
Mission 2 is coffee shop small talk. You're in a nice cafe. Maybe you ask the barista for help, chat about the weather, life, dreams, just natural, low-stakes interaction.
Okay, nice and relaxed.
Then mission 3 ramps it up, a job interview. Applying for a remote job that needs English. So you're answering tougher questions, trying to be confident, maybe even getting feedback.
Putting you on the spot a bit more. High stakes.
Definitely. Then mission 4 is making a new friend. Maybe at a language exchange event. Talking hobbies, family, music, food, all that good stuff you talk about when getting to know someone.
Building connection.
And the last one, mission 5, is probably the deepest. It's called the heart-to-heart talk. Picture sitting outside at night, looking at the stars, and talking about deeper things. Fears, dreams, maybe something from your past.
Wow, so these missions really push you emotionally, too.
Exactly. They're designed to help you find your authentic voice in English, not just your technically correct voice.
That makes sense. And speaking of sounding authentic, the guide also talks about patterns, hidden rhythms.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Fluent conversation patterns. These are like the underlying music of English. They're not strict grammar rules you learn from a book, but more like the natural ebb and flow, the intonation, the common phrases native speakers use without thinking.
So mastering these makes you sound less translated.
Precisely. Less like you're constructing sentences and more like you're just talking, thinking in English.
So what are some examples of these patterns?
The guide lists several reusable patterns. Things like, the thing is, or to be honest.
Ah, yeah, I hear those all the time.
Right, or I've been meaning to, and you know what I mean? Also, it's kind of like, or maybe starting a story with back when I was younger.
Okay.
And a really useful one for expressing nuanced opinions. It's not that I don't like it, it's just...
That's a good one. So how do you practice these? Just memorize them.
No, it's more active. The guide suggests building, say, 10 different sentences using each pattern. And then the real kicker, create a short dialogue that uses all of those patterns together.
Oh, okay. So you're really internalizing how they fit into a natural conversation flow.
Exactly. It helps embed them.
This is great. So to kind of help visualize all this progress, you mentioned a map.
Yeah, the fluency map. It's a really clear visual showing the stages you move through, from absolute beginner to confident speaker.
Okay, walk us through the stages. What does the map look like?
So it outlines 4 stages. Stage 1 is like basic survival English, simple words, where's the bathroom, I want coffee, that kind of thing.
Got it. The essentials.
Then stage 2 moves into sharing more personal stuff, daily life. So you might say something like, today I felt tired but excited. Starting to share your inner world a bit.
Right, moving beyond just needs.
Stage 3 is where you start expressing feelings and opinions more clearly. Like, honestly, I don't like that show. It's too slow. You're giving your take on things.
Okay, getting more complex. And stage 4.
Stage 4 is described as free, fluent, emotional speech. This is where you can really express complex thoughts and feelings, tell stories. Maybe say something like, there was a time in my life when I felt completely lost and, really opening up.
Wow, that's the goal, isn't it? And the guide emphasizes something important about this map.
Yes. The core message is you're always moving up the map. And progress doesn't just happen when you sit down to formally study.
Right.
It happens every single time you speak. Every conversation, every attempt moves you forward.
That's such a powerful way to think about it. It takes the pressure off needing perfect study sessions.
Absolutely. Which leads us perfectly into the whole mindset piece. This is huge in the guide.
Addressing the mental game, the emotional side of learning.
Totally. Because let's be honest, that's often the biggest hurdle, right? The fear, the self-doubt.
Definitely. So how does the guide tackle that?
It offers these really powerful affirmations. Simple statements designed to rewire your thinking.
Okay, like what?
Things like, I am not afraid to make mistakes. Or, speaking is about courage, not perfection.
Ooh, I like that one. Courage, not perfection.
Yeah. And every word I say is practice. I'm getting better every day. And this was really important. My voice matters.
Wow. Just saying those feels good.
Doesn't it? And to make it real, the guide shares these inspiring stories. Real people who transform their lives through English. There's a story about a really shy student who now actually teaches English.
No way.
Yeah. And a mother who learned English specifically for her kids. And even a taxi driver who started his own podcast in English.
That's amazing. It shows what's possible.
Exactly. They're not just nice stories. They're proof that this journey, your journey, is totally possible and can be life-changing.
Okay, so we have the mindset, the tools, the practice methods. How do we pull it all together? Is there like a plan?
There is. The guide includes a very practical, structured plan. The 7-day Fluent Conversation Challenge.
A 7-day challenge. Okay, sounds doable. What does it involve?
It gives you a specific small speaking mission for each day. Gentle pushes designed to get you using different skills.
All right, give us the rundown. Day 1.
Day 1. Describe your room in detail. For 3 minutes straight, just talk. It works your descriptive language.
Okay. Day 2.
Day 2. Talk about your last meal. But here's the twist. Use all 5 senses. What did it look like, smell like, sound like, feel like, taste like? Gets you using vivid words.
Ooh, interesting. Day 3.
Day 3. Pretend you're introducing yourself at a party. Practice 3 different versions. Builds confidence for those crucial first impressions.
Good one. Day 4.
Day 4. Tell a funny or embarrassing story about yourself. The key here is, don't stop, even if you stumble, and laugh. It pushes you past perfectionism.
Forces that natural flow, warts and all. Okay, day 5.
Day 5. Ask and answer 5 questions about movies. But you have to use the 3A formula. Answer, add a thought, ask back. Keeps the conversation dynamic.
Practicing those conversation moves. Day 6.
Day 6. Have a fake phone call in English. Start with something like, hey, I was just calling to say. It practices a different conversational setting and structure.
Right. Phone calls have their own rhythm. And the final day, day 7.
Day 7. Talk about your biggest dreams. Speak from the heart. Connect your English to something deeply meaningful to you.
Wow, that's a powerful culmination. And the idea is to repeat these.
Yeah, the guide suggests doing these daily challenges, maybe cycling through them until they start to feel really easy, almost second nature.
Building habit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And ultimately all of this, the tools, the practice, the mindset shifts. It all points to one main goal. Using your real voice in English. Forgetting the rigid rules and the fear that holds you back.
Speaking authentically.
Yes. The guide even poses these really deep questions to help you tap into that. What do you truly care about? What's something you absolutely love? What breaks your heart? What do you wish for your future?
Connecting English to who you actually are.
That's it. The goal isn't perfection. It's not about speaking like a robot textbook. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be real. That sums up the whole philosophy.
That's fantastic. So looking back on this deep dive, we've really covered a lot of ground. From finding that crucial why, that power source, to building sentences brick by brick, mastering those golden conversation moves.
Yeah, the trade box.
Diving into those real-life role-play missions, uncovering the fluent patterns, understanding the fluency map.
Right, seeing the journey.
Working on the mindset, the courage over perfection, and then taking action with that 7-day challenge, all leading to finding your real voice.
It's a complete path. And it really comes back to that affirmation from the guide. Maybe we can encourage listeners to say it again, really feel it. I speak English. I make mistakes. I learn. I grow. I am a confident speaker. I connect with people. And I am just getting started.
Love that. I am just getting started. So as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What's one small thing, one single authentic step you could take today, right now, to bring your real voice into your English? Forget waiting for perfection, just one small step. And how could really holding on to that wire we talked about at the beginning, how could that change everything? Transforming this from just learning a language into, well, a profound way to express who you are.